Hi there, St. John's. Holly is taking a well-deserved vacation, and I am Kevin, and I'm going to be sitting in for her for story time. Today, we are going to read an interesting book called The Day the Great Lakes Drained Away. It's written and illustrated by Charles Ferguson Baker. There we are. So, that sounds like a grim prospect. Let's explore that a little bit. But first, let's take a nice look at the Great Lakes. Can you name the Great Lakes, all 5 of them? You name all 5 Great Lakes? Superior? Michigan? Huron? Erie? And way over there in Ontario. Ontario is the only one that doesn't touch Michigan. All the rest of the Great Lakes do touch Michigan. So that's why it's so happy and wonderful here in Michigan. Except when the power goes out. But enough of that. So, the Great Lakes were flowing with water on every Great Lakes day until something frightful happened and made the Great Lakes dry away. Some thought it might have been an earthquake. Some say it might have been a big pipe. But whatever was draining the Great Lakes, it just didn't seem quite right. Was there not enough rain this year? Was the sun too hot? Some people think not. It's got nice pictures, so I just want to make sure you get those. Great Lakes, the Great Lakes. So, when the Great Lakes began to drain, the lake levels dropped only a few inches a year. No one thought much about it. It seemed there was nothing to fear. People would borrow just a little bit of water from their just a little pipe. They thought it didn't matter. They said, the Great Lakes will be all right. Soon many people were borrowing water from the Great Lakes. Their one small pipe became thousands, with the Great Lakes water at stake. Lots for sale. Boat view. And onward. As water levels continued to drop, the people who noticed the most were people who had boats on the lakes and those who lived by the coast. You ever been on a boat on the Great Lakes? Lots of fun. Soon the water from the Great Lakes would drain low, until it was almost gone. Fear around the Great Lakes was strong. Lake Ontario's water fell so low. Oh no! You could wade instead of sail from Rochester to Toronto. Here's that CN Tower, and so you know it's Toronto. Now, on the east side of Lake Ontario's floor, you could walk right up to a big old meteor crater. It was bigger than the Great Lakes Freighter. It was like something you would see on the moon. Let's hope another one of these doesn't hit soon. Look at this crater. Huge! Huge! The mighty Niagara Falls had gone from rushing water to just a little trickle. The town's hotels and shops found themselves in quite a pickle. No one would come! The town even renamed the famous boat they loved, Maid of the Mist, to the Maid of the Mud. Still, no one would come! Look at the Niagara Falls. That's just not right. Not right. Lake Erie drained out muddy and flat. You could even walk to Pelee Island from Cleveland and back. There's Cleveland. And then there we go. Pelee Island is the southernmost point of Canada, by the way. And the Detroit River, it drained away and totally stopped. The freighters were stuck in the mud and you could walk right up to their big metal props. That's not right. From Detroit to Windsor, you needed to use no tunnel or bridge. Just drive across the dried up riverbed along the gravel ridge. There you go. Lake St. Clair, it drained out flat and muddy too, but there were lots of interesting artifacts on the bottom to view. Some were really old, others were quite new. Can we name a few? A sunken yacht, an old birch canoe, a mysterious wooden box, and even an old shoe. Up toward the thumb of Michigan, where the St. Clair River no longer flowed, where the pipes from the factories were once underwater, now they really showed. See? When Lake Huron drained away, the sights to see were incredible. There were huge, tall ridges of rock to climb right smack dab in the middle. In the deepest parts of the drained away lakes, there were caves the size of houses. Some were even bigger. They were carved out where the limestone rock has dissolved away like sugar. In the drained out straits of Mackinac, the islands became big humps in the lake floor. They looked like castles with moats. You could walk to Mackinac Island, but it wasn't nearly as much fun as riding those ferry boats. When Lake Michigan drained away, the muddy bottom dried up hard as plaster. At least it made the drive between Michigan and Wisconsin much faster. Barrels and barrels appeared all over the lake floor, bright orange and stuck in the sand. They were covered with zebra mussels galore. It's not Lakeshore Drive, it's Lake Floor Drive. All the bays drained away, not a trickle, not a splash. You could see all of the shipwrecks at the famous Manitou Pass. On the bottom of Lake Huron lived a lost forest. It lived in the time of glaciers. How old is it? Can you guess? It's been hiding under Lake Huron for thousands of years, until the Great Lakes drained away and made it appear. Way up north, the St. Mary's River from Lake Superior was a dried-up riverbed too. So they decided to turn the Sioux Locks into a big swimming pool, and they named it the Sioux. There's the Sioux Pool. And I didn't give you a good shot of the last picture. This is the forest at the bottom of Lake Huron. Flip the pages. Lake Superior was drained away to the bottom, over 1,000 feet deep. There were big, heavy chunks of copper and gold you could drag out and keep. Almost everyone was shocked when the Great Lakes were all drained and away and empty. But there were interesting things on the lake floors, and trust me, there were plenty. You could find anchors and ship wheels, lost golden rings, and lots of other once sunken things. With all the water gone, you could fish with ease. Just walk out on the lake floor and pick up as many as you please. Soon, that wasn't as much fun as you might think. With all those stranded fish, it really began to stink. Yikes! With the water drained away, it was getting quite grim. No water for a boat ride or even a Great Lakes swim. Even then, some people didn't care until the city water supply intakes started sucking in air. People never thought about where their water had come from. They had always just turned on the faucet, and swoosh, out it would come. Many Great Lakes cities draw water from the lakes. Does the city you live in have a Great Lakes water intake? Yeah, I'm sure they do. Chicago, Duluth, and even Milwaukee, Ontonagon, Marquette, and Sault Ste. Marie, St. Ignace, Traverse City, Alpena, Port Huron, Windsor and Sarnia, Bay City, Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo. You think that's all? Heavens, no! There's Rochester, Toronto, and Evanston, and the list goes on and on. Sheboygan, Manitowoc, and I'm sure we've missed a few like the hundreds of smaller Great Lakes towns too. Now everyone missed the water and all the fun things to do. There was no vacationing on the Great Lakes because all that dried up too. Now all the people who borrowed just a little water from just a little pipe soon realized the Great Lakes were not all right. Soon the people stopped taking water from the lakes. So the people had to stop taking water from the lakes. There wasn't any water to take with their just a little pipe. Day by day, the lakes filled back up, making them once again a beautiful sight. Now the Great Lakes are flowing with water once again, so deep and fresh and blue, we must treat them as a treasure, as our gift our whole lives through. So in the end, what drained the Great Lakes away wasn't an earthquake, it wasn't a big pipe, it wasn't a single lone villain, it was everyone's just one small pipes times a million. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I thought it was pretty cool. It's The Day the Great Lakes Drained Away by Charles Ferguson Baker, who did the illustrations as well. And he has a little bit of facts about the Great Lakes at the very end. It would take, if all the Great Lakes were empty, finally, when Lake Superior was filled up to where it is now, it would take 191 years to refill that. So think about that the next time you turn on your faucet. Have a great evening. We'll see you soon.